Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, respected teachers, honorable guests, and my dear friends. Today, I stand before you to reflect on the enduring words and legacy of one of the most powerful orators in history, Sir Winston Churchill. When we think of courage in the face of impossible odds, we think of Churchill. When we think of a voice that rallied a broken nation and inspired the free world, we think of Churchill. And among his many speeches, none rings louder. None echoes deeper in the soul of freedom and resistance than his rousing wartime address, "We shall fight on the beaches." Let us journey through this powerful speech, not merely as a historical document, but as a lighthouse of strength, resolve, and unyielding hope. Delivered on 4th June 1940, in the House of Commons, Churchill's speech came at a moment of great peril. British and Allied troops had just been evacuated from Dunkirk in a miraculous operation, but the shadow of Nazi tyranny loomed large across Europe. Britain stood alone. This was no time for false hope. Churchill knew it. He didn't offer soothing lies. He offered something better, the truth, paired with unbreakable resolve. Quote 1, "We shall go on to the end." What a beginning. Not just a sentence, but a vow. A covenant with the British people and with every future generation who would read or hear these words. We shall go on to the end. Not until it gets difficult, not until we tire, not until it's convenient, but to the end. That was the promise. That was the spirit that carried the United Kingdom through the darkest days of the Second World War. Quote 2, "We shall fight on the seas and oceans. We shall fight with growing confidence and growing strength in the air." Here, Churchill maps the battleground, sea, land, and sky. Every domain would be contested. Every corner would be defended. What is most inspiring about this line is not just the locations he lists, but the confidence and strength he injects into the collective spirit of a nation under siege. Imagine hearing these words in 1940 during nightly bombings and the fear of invasion. Imagine how they would fuel your courage, steel your spine, and unite your purpose. Quote 3, "We shall fight on the beaches. We shall fight on the landing grounds. We shall fight in the fields and in the streets." Churchill didn't just offer resistance. He painted a vivid picture of a defiant Britain. These weren't mere metaphors. This was a strategic reality and a psychological rally cry. Every blade of grass, every alleyway, every field and garden would be sacred ground. These words didn't just promise action, they called upon every citizen to rise, to prepare, and to become part of the fight. The nation itself became an army, ready to resist with unshakable determination. At quote 4, "We shall fight in the hills, we shall never surrender." The climax, the crescendo, the immortal phrase, "We shall never surrender." So short, so simple, yet so complete in meaning. Churchill was not naive. He knew Britain might be invaded. He knew the war was far from over, but he vowed that, even in the face of conquest, surrender was never an option. These words became a rallying cry not only for Britain, but for freedom-loving people across the globe. It said, "We may lose cities, we may lose battles, but we shall never lose the will to be free." Churchill's speech is more than a relic of history. It is a living lesson in leadership, in courage, and in the power of language. His words weren't simply to inform, they were to ignite. They didn't just describe the situation, they defined the spirit with which it would be faced. Even today, in our own personal battles, whether they be with fear, uncertainty, injustice, or adversity, we can draw strength from these words. We shall go on to the end. We shall fight on the beaches. We shall never surrender. They are not just Churchill's words. They belong to all who choose to resist darkness and fight for what is right. Winston Churchill once said, "Courage is rightly esteemed the first of human qualities, because it is the quality which guarantees all others." In his speech, he gave courage a voice. In our lives, we must give courage a home. Let us take inspiration from Churchill, not just in times of war, but in everyday life, when standing up for what is right, when persevering through hardship, when holding fast to hope. Let us speak truth boldly. Let us stand firmly. And above all, let us never surrender. Thank you.